Good day, everyone. First, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm MAMTamayao-Kieke. I will be your professor for Introduction to Life Cycle Analysis for this semester. This video is made primarily to discuss the course guide. But before that, I'd like to briefly introduce myself in terms of my educational and work background, and then some research interests. So these were the things that I indicated in the list of activities that I sent you yesterday. And again, I'm sorry that I am not able to meet with you synchronously today. I really look forward to meeting all of you, hopefully in the coming weeks. Okay, so I did my BS and MS in Industrial Engineering at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. And then I went on to do my PhD in Engineering and Public Policy at Carnegie Mellon University, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the US. And then in 2014, after finishing my PhD, I came back to UP as an assistant professor at the Department of Industrial Engineering Operations Research. And I continued my research work in the space of sustainability in life cycle analysis. And I focused mainly in the energy sector, but I had a few works in mining, specifically small-scale gold mining. And I also did the work in PVC pipes in the Philippines. And yeah, so I've mainly been employing LCA in a lot of my work. Actually, in my PhD dissertation, I also used LCA in evaluating the climate implications of mass vehicle electrification in the United States. Okay, so that's it for me. And as we go on throughout the semester, I really look forward to getting to know each of you as well. Okay, so let's go through the course guide. All right, so this is the same course guide that I posted on Uble last week. All right, so this is Introduction to Life Cycle Analysis. And then this is my email address. So you can contact me through this email address or through Uble chat. I prefer that you get in touch with me through Uble so I can look at your messages in a centralized platform. Sometimes when students get in touch with me through my email, I miss some of the emails. No? So it's better if I can see your questions, your queries, your if you have some additional insights to the class discussions through the Uble platform. And this is my online consultation hours. So Mondays, Wednesdays from 13 to 17. Okay, so that's 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And Fridays from 3 to 5 p.m. And this will be mainly via either Zoom or the Uble chat room. Okay, and then section A basically are preliminaries to the course. Okay, so course number and so on. And of course, the important one of the most important things here is the course goals. So this semester-long course aims to provide an introduction to approaches, methods, and data requirements for performing life cycle analysis. Examples of process-based, input, output, and hybrid approaches are presented, but mainly focusing on process-based. And then it also aims to train students to interpret, critique, and author LCA projects. And more importantly, this course aims to train students to apply life cycle thinking and LCA tools and principles in decision-making and evaluating industrial and social issues. Okay, now we move on to section B, rationale. So life cycle analysis enables the evaluation of a product, service, or policy from cradle to grave. So these are terms used in LCA and in environmental engineering. So that basically means from raw material extraction, or better yet, from design, research and development, to grave. So that's the end of life. So it could be either waste disposal or reuse and recycling. LCA provides a more comprehensive and robust characterization of environmental impacts to avoid shifting of environmental impacts from one life cycle stage to another and to achieve extended product responsibility. In some instances, when we try to improve a product or a process, we unintentionally actually shift the problem or the environmental impact from a life cycle stage to another. So an example of this is in the case of electric vehicles in the past. So people or policymakers and of course technology people wanted to reduce the impact of cars in terms of their tailpipe emissions. So one of the solutions is electric vehicles. So they've been called zero emission vehicles. But that is only true if you only look at the use phase of the vehicle. However, if you look at the upstream as well as the downstream life cycle stages, you will realize that electric vehicles are not really zero emissions vehicles because for one, you have to charge the vehicle. That means you have to use electricity, and electricity is produced somewhere. And in a lot of cases, burning of fossil fuels is involved. And of course, as you know, that involves emissions, no? Okay. Next, we move on to section C. We'll discuss more on this now as we go through the course. Okay, so section C, course outline. So first we talk about the course outcomes, the things that are expected of you upon completion of the course. Okay. So first, demonstrate understanding of concept and framework of LCA based on ISO 14040.44. And then specify different life stages of several product and service systems. Third, specify data requirements and sources or estimation techniques in evaluating product or service system life cycle implications, such as greenhouse gas emissions, criteria air pollutants, energy consumption, and so on. And then fourth, demonstrate basic understanding of the assumptions, strengths, and weaknesses of the three approaches to LCA, mainly process-based, input-output, and hybrid. And then perform basic process-based LCA and demonstrate understanding of how to use LCA in evaluating industrial and social issues. And lastly, demonstrate ability to offer and critique basic LCA studies. And to meet that, these are the lecture topics. Okay, so let's go through each by looking at our course coverage and schedule. Okay, so the following summarizes the specific unit learning outcomes, learning activities, and learning resources for each topic. It also shows you the tentative schedule, no? The tentative schedule. Sorry for that. Okay, so the tentative schedule is shown in the first column. Okay, so let's go through which. First topic is life cycle and systems thinking. So these are discussed in lecture 1. This is discussed in lecture 1, parts 1 and part 2, which have already been uploaded on UVLE. I am monitoring the viewership of the videos now, and I've seen 1 view so far. So I encourage you to stick with the schedule, to this recommended schedule, so that the workload does not pile up on you. Okay, and then also following that is the quantitative and qualitative methods supporting life cycle analysis. Okay, and the lecture video on this has also been uploaded already on UVLE. Okay, and my initial plan was to conduct a synchronous session with you where the main goal was basically to discuss some of the guide posts, guide questions that I included in the lecture videos. Maybe we can touch on that in the coming synchronous sessions, okay? And there will also be an exercise so that we can better understand the concepts in the 2 lecture videos. Okay. In the 4th column, you can see the specific unit learning outcomes, which are basically most of which have been adopted from the LCA book, which is also available on OVLE. Okay, and as you will note, you will be able to download the contents of the book, the LCA book, per chapter. And I did it as such because the authors requested that we guide our students to downloading the book content per chapter in order for them to monitor, the importance of the different chapters. Okay. In the next column, we have the learning activities, so activities that are related to each topic, which are meant basically to help the students better understand the topic. And then you have the learning resource, okay? So as you can see here, lecture slides actually for 1 and 2, lecture slides and video. And then you have your book chapters, corresponding book chapters. All right. And then on February 28th, we will proceed to the discussion of life cycle cost analysis and the ISO LCA standard goal and scope, part 1. Okay, and these are the corresponding learning outcomes, okay, and then the activities and the book chapters. After that, March 7, we're going to continue to talk about ISO LCA goal and scope, and then proceed to critical review, okay, discussion of critical review. For this, okay, you will have a reporting session, which is scheduled later on. Okay, and this will serve as your homework 1. So as you can see, your homeworks are already indicated here. So actually, your homework 1 will be released today. Okay, and then the plan is to discuss homework 1 next week. Okay, and then release of homework 2. Okay, on March 7, there will be no homework. Okay, but we will be discussing homework 2 on March 14. Okay, and then subsequently we will release homework 3. All right, so for March 14 to 21, we will talk about data acquisition and management for life cycle inventory analysis. Okay. And then after that, March 28, we will talk about analyzing multifunctional product systems. And then we will have the reading break and the Lenten season. Therefore, the next meeting after March 28 is already April 18. Okay, April 18, we will talk about overview of life cycle impact analysis, and the last topic, which is uncertainty and variability in LCA. And then in that session, we will also discuss homework 3. Okay, and then this is going to be the due date for your revised and expanded goal and scope documentation. Oh, by the way, your project proposal is due on March 21. March 21. All right, please take note of those dates. Okay, and then on April 25, this is the schedule for your reporting on critical review. So each of the groups or maybe individuals, I will look into this, because you're only 4 in the class, okay, will report on critical review on assigned LCA case, okay? And this is basically your homework 4. And then we don't have a class on May 2 because of Idul Fitr. And then May 9 is going to be a research workshop, okay? So this is going to be supervised so that I can see your progress in your project, as well as answer any queries that you might have regarding your project or regarding the topics that have been discussed so far. And the output from this is a progress report. And then on May 16 is a project presentation. So you are to present a draft of your final report, okay? So at this point, you should have preliminary results and preliminary results and discussions, okay? And your presentation slides are due on, sorry for this, okay, I will change this later on, but the presentation slides are basically due before the class starts, okay, as well as the project draft report. On May 23, okay, again, you're given a chance to work on your project, okay, and I will be there to supervise you, answer any questions that you might have as well. So that on May 30, you will be ready to submit your final written report as well as your project video brief. All right, and then we move on to the next section. If you have any questions on the course guide, you can just feel free to message me through Uble chat. So for your course requirements, these are the main things: participation, homework, and group project. Okay, so participation will basically be the level and quality of class participation based on the following: individual queries and or responses to my questions, presentation of homeworks, okay, in-class workshops, so your participation in in-class workshops, and then peer evaluation ratings. So in cases where you are really unable to attend the synchronous sessions due to connectivity issues, then I can provide a forum, an online forum where you can participate asynchronously. And then next is homework. So after each session, or actually as scheduled that you have seen above, you will be assigned problems to work on in order to reinforce the concepts and tools that are introduced in the lecture. And then lastly, you have the group project. So this is basically a written technical report and oral presentation of a life cycle analysis of a product or system. And this semester, the project theme is still LCA of products and services during the COVID-19 pandemic. So last semester, we had the same theme for the project. And I decided to adopt the same theme to continue on the work or further recommendations of my previous students in terms of future work, or also explore other opportunities under this umbrella, umbrella topic. Okay, so you are basically expected to perform an LCA of a product or service that has become of significance during the COVID-19 pandemic. So in last semester, one group, for example, looked into the LCA implications, life cycle analysis of the implications of changes in energy demand for the residential sector in Metro Manila. One group looked into a comparative LCA analysis of different mask options. And then one estimated, for example, the LCA impacts of life cycle impacts of online learning. Okay, so those are a few examples, and I will be sharing at least their video briefs with you guys later on. Okay, in terms of the oral presentation, so as you can see here, each of your main outputs have already been described here. So the oral presentation, for example, will have a time limit of 20 to 30 minutes, followed by a 15-minute Q&A. Okay. And then project video brief. Okay, so this will just be 10 minutes, summarizing the main things, okay, that you got out from your mini research. And then in terms of the technical written report, okay, you have your project proposal, which will constitute 10 points of your written report grade. The revised and expanded goal and scope documentation, which is going to be 20 points. And I already included here what is expected of each written output. The draft report, as well as the page limits. The draft report will be 30 points, and then the final report will be 40 points of your report grade. Okay. You might think that this is too much. Actually, this is meant to help you, pace yourselves, because if I just require one big report and have that to constitute the entirety of your grade for your technical written report, based on experience, the results, okay, the output will not be as good, And then it will be more taxing at the end of the semester for you because you have to recall everything that you've done throughout the semester, or worse, no, cram everything, even the analysis, data gathering towards the end of the semester, which is not what we want, especially that you are already graduate students. Okay, next you have, oh, by the way, one of the goals here is to be able to come up with a study that is good enough for journal submission. Okay. For your final grade, this is going to be how we will compute for your final grade. It's basically 10% of your participation grade, 40% of your homework average grade, and 50% of your group project. And your project grade will be computed as such: 60% of your written report, 20% of the oral presentation, and 20% of the project video brief. And these are the grade equivalents. Okay, if you have any questions so far, again, please message me through Outlet. Number 6, I think, is still relevant. I will have to check on number 7 about the no-fail policy. This might have changed already. Okay. Let's move on to number 8, no, academic integrity. Please don't violate this. Okay, sadly, I have caught some students in recent semesters who have violated this, and I had to take action. So I don't want to encounter the same problem again. And then copyright notice. So I will be sharing with you a lot of materials that I have made or have been authored or made by other people. Make sure to respect our intellectual property. Okay, property rights. And lastly, you have your learning resources. So the main learning resource is going to be the LCA book that I have shared via Ogle. For further references, we have the EIO LCA book by Hendrickson, Lave, and Matthews. The LCA book has been authored by Scott Matthews, Chris Hendrickson, and Diana Matthews, all from Carnegie Mellon University. Okay, you will also have some course readings throughout the semester. And then, of course, the lecture slides. And the last two here are meant to guide you in preparing your written report as well as your presentations. All right, so that's it for the course guide. Again, if you have any questions, just message me via Oble or through my email, but preferably via Oble. Okay, for further announcements, please wait for them through Oble or through your Telegram. Okay, stay safe, everyone.